Welcome to the Careers by Jen podcast, episode 161. In this episode, Jen explores mindfulness, why it matters, and how to practice it. Because it's good to live in the moment. Just not this moment. Maybe a moment in Hawaii.
Hey there, this is Jen Swanson with the Careers by Jen podcast, the show that helps you to get the job, love your work, and advance your career. Can you believe that it is February? I am stunned. It feels like we just took down our Christmas tree and undecorated the house. And, well, I think the lights outside are still up because it's been so wet and miserable and blustery here, and nobody feels like going outside to do that job. And suddenly it's February. Is it me, or are you feeling this way too? Because I just kind of can't believe it. I'm giving a keynote this week to a group of physicians on professional burnout, and while doing my research over the past few months, I've come across again and again and again that the best, most effective way to prevent burnout, along with many other things that I'll be talking about, but the best way to prevent it is the practice of mindfulness. Studies, research reports, articles in medical magazines and in every other kind of wellness magazine and journal over and over and over again have mentioned mindfulness as being a key method of prevention. And I know that mindfulness seems like it's a thing right now. That's air quotes around thing. And I have known about it for some time because I'm a big fan of Eckhart Tolle. I never know how to say his name. And of his 3 books, The Power of Now, Practicing the Power of Now, and A New Earth. And I'm also a practitioner of a meditation practice called centering prayer. It's a Christian form of meditation and mindfulness that was made popular again by Father Thomas Keating and also by the author and spiritual teacher Cynthia Bourgeault, both of whom I had the privilege of sitting in classes with years ago. I went to a retreat with Cynthia Bourgeault once too. And I have over the years tried different methods of meditation. I was a child in the 70s, and my family practiced transcendental meditation. Some of you might know it. It was known as TM back then, when I think I was about 10 or 12. So I learned how to be still and be aware at a very young age. I learned about the value of meditation. So mindfulness has many names, it seems, but I decided to do research a while ago on what this current version of the practice is, this popular thing that has surfaced everywhere. And you know what? It's pretty much exactly the same. I looked into how you can practice it and how exactly mindfulness can matter in the workplace, not just to prevent burnout, but in general for anyone. And mindfulness is being integrated now into many workplaces these days. In fact, workplaces like some of the big tech giants, Apple and Google, and big companies like Procter & Gamble and General Mills, because it can reduce stress, it can promote employee wellness, it can increase productivity and improve job satisfaction. There are so many benefits to it. Mindfulness reduces toxicity. It brings you into an awareness of the very moment you are in. And there's lots to be said about it. And there is real scientific evidence that it is worthwhile and good for you on many fronts. There have been studies also with cancer patients on the benefits of mindfulness. And do you get this where when things keep coming into your sphere of consciousness repeatedly, when you've never heard of them before, or you have but you haven't thought of them for a long time, when all of a sudden, all at once, you hear from different places about a topic, Does that start happening to you and you suddenly hear about something from multiple different sources? When this happens to me, I usually know that I'm supposed to pay attention to it. I meant to pay attention to it, and mindfulness is one such thing that I think I am supposed to pay attention to right now. So pardon the terrible pun there. But that is why what we're going to explore today. And before we get into that, I want to remind you about the free 5-day Jumpstart Your Job Search Challenge that we have on offer. It's a series of emails that asks you to do one task each day for 5 days, just 5 days. And if you take the challenge and do all of the tasks, then by the end you will be well on your way to that dream job that you are looking for. So if you want to join in, come on over to careersbyjen.com, and on the right-hand side of the front page, you'll see me looking up at some words. It's a beige colored picture. Click on that image and take the challenge, and you'll be glad that you did. So mindfulness, what is it? Well, originally it was a Buddhist and is a Buddhist practice. Mindfulness is the practice of moment by moment awareness. Awareness that is free of judgment, awareness that is free of attachment or commentary, just awareness, just noticing. It is the practice of not living in yesterday or tomorrow, not living in what happened 10 minutes ago or what's going to happen after lunch, but it is the practice of being right here, right now. You are aware of your own thoughts and feelings, but you're not latching on to any of them or giving commentary on any of them. Mindfulness is being right here, right now. What does it do for you? Mindfulness, as I mentioned before, reduces stress. It brings you back to a place of groundedness. If you are someone prone to worry or anxiety, or if you're working in a high stress environment, then what mindfulness does is it allows you to take life moment by moment. Rather than raising your anxiety by worrying about what could or what might happen next, instead of replaying old loops with all the associated emotions that go along with that practice, you know about that, right? You know that your body can't tell the difference between real time and memory. So whenever you replay some terrible or upsetting event in your life, your body, hormones and all, actually relives it. So instead of spending any more time stuck in that unhelpful, unhealthy state, mindfulness brings you into the present, into the right now. It's powerful stuff. And it's also something called a practice because it's hard and it takes lots of practice on an ongoing basis. There are people that practice this and have practiced this kind of centering, kind of focusing for years and years and years. And it's the kind of thing that you never say, I'm an expert at it, because it's a practice. You could be doing it for 10 years and still not get it quite right sometimes to your satisfaction. So it's something that you continue working on and continue to learn. How do you do it? Well, there are different ways that you can learn and practice mindfulness. There are group sessions around that you can join where you either go in person or you join online, and you're invited to practice for a specific length of time in a group with someone leading it. I was part of a group many years ago when I was working in the hospital, and the sessions were called satsang, which is a Sanskrit word meaning in the presence of absolute truth capitalized. This was not a religious group per se, at least nothing was ever said about any one particular religion. This group was made up mostly of healthcare people, nurses, doctors, administrative staff, and then friends of the nurse who was hosting it. And it was once a week, I believe, at the nurse's home. And there was a sign on the door, so you were to enter in silence. You were to take off your shoes, sit on one of the chairs that was set up in rows in her living room. And she played a video of a woman named Gangaji, who is an American spiritual teacher who I believe lives in Oregon now. And we would watch the video, which was something like 20 minutes or 30 minutes long. And then we would sit in meditation practice, in meditative silence, once the video was over, practicing our mindfulness meditation. And the session ended after a total of 1 hour with the ringing of a singing bowl, and we would leave in silence. So we would not speak to anyone the entire time, but we were all together in a group. And I remember seeing all sorts of colleagues and strangers and people from all walks of life coming to satsang. And I remember feeling so much more grounded and calm after attending. So that's one example of a group practice. There are multiple programs online and podcasts that can help you practice mindfulness as well, and courses and programs. So do a Google search and you will find loads of things to help you. There are several guides to how to do it for even just 5 minutes a day. I mentioned earlier the books of Eckhart Tolle, available everywhere, and he also has a daily email that I'm signed up for. I think it's daily, but it's an email that comes fairly regularly, and you can access that for free, and it can help you with this practice. So what I'm going to do is give you a very basic version now of how to practice mindfulness right now for just a few moments. And you can do this any time of day, anywhere you are. It costs absolutely nothing, and no one needs to know you're doing it if you're doing it while you're at work or you're doing it while you're at home, unless you're sitting there with your eyes closed, and then people might ask a few questions. But there are a couple of different versions, but it can be your secret practice if you do it while you're working. So here we go. I'm going to explain it, a couple of different versions of it to you, and you can choose which one resonates best. If the group ones that I mentioned and the online ones that I mentioned before aren't to your liking. So decide for the next 5 minutes that you're going to practice mindfulness. If you are somewhere that you can sit and close your eyes, great. And if not, you can do this while you are doing other things. Pay attention to what you are doing, to every minute detail. Focus on only one thing that you are doing, and do it slowly and deliberately and with complete concentration on that one thing. This is the exact opposite of multitasking, which is actually not possible anyway. But when you're doing this one thing, no matter what it is, pay attention to your hands, these amazing tools that you have, and how they can move, and they can feel, and they can touch things, and they can feel texture and temperature. If you're doing something like typing or washing dishes or cooking, feel how the fingers move. Feel the temperature of the water and the texture of the dish in your hand. Or if you're cooking, feel the onion, the slipperiness of the onion as you chop it. Do things slowly. It's only 5 minutes. You can slow down. Menial tasks can become your meditation practice if you are fully present to them. This is a Benedictine practice as well. The Benedictine monks had a practice called ora and labora, and the labora part is the work part, and they used it as a meditation, so that even sweeping can be a meditation practice, or even washing toilets can be mindfulness. If you are putting your full attention into the task that you are doing and focusing, then you are practicing mindfulness. And while you're doing this, a river of thoughts will be flowing by in your brain, and that's normal. Notice them, but the practice is to not latch on to any one of them. Let the river flow by, and if you do get distracted by some little juicy bit that goes by, practice bringing yourself back to the now and back to the moment and to the task you are performing if you're doing something. If you're talking to someone, be fully present to that person. Listen intently and don't make editorial comments about them in your head. If your brain does that, notice it. Don't judge it. Just notice it and allow the editorial comment to flow down the river, and keep bringing yourself back to the present, to the moment, to what the person is saying, to being fully engaged with that person. If you decide to do this sitting still with your eyes closed, then you can focus on your breathing if you want, so that you have a center point to focus on. And then focus on letting everything else go. And again, with all of these practices, you're going to have to redirect your thoughts over and over and over again from that river that's flowing by, because there are so many attractive things to latch onto. Your brain is so clever at trying to distract you. And that's okay. That's why, again, this is called a practice. Silence and sitting still and being in stillness is really hard for lots of us. So be gentle with yourself. Give yourself this time to be in utter silence and to be okay with it, and to be still. And this is an investment in you, this practice. This is a gift you are giving yourself because it's good for you. If you're not sitting with your eyes closed, then you're still going to need to refocus on what it is you are doing, and to notice how you're feeling, and to notice if you're able to just let go of all that other stuff for that 5 minutes and focus and breathe. So those are a few ways to practice mindfulness. Schedule 5 minutes in to your schedule if you have to, so that you remember to do it. Every 5 minutes, even 5 minutes a day, is going to make a difference. 5 minutes of doing nothing, of complete focus, of complete concentration, of being in the now. This is going to make a difference. And then you can increase the time from 5 minutes to 10 minutes, and then 10 to 20, as you get better at this practice, as you notice how it makes you feel and how it grounds you. Some people use brushing teeth as a 5 minute, it's a long time to brush your teeth, but some people use teeth brushing time a couple times a day to do this mindfulness meditation. Focus on how that toothbrush feels in your mouth, and be really, really mindful of what it is that you are doing. So it's a good idea to spend more time in the now and not so much time in the past or the future. Decide to spend more time right here, right now. The Vietnamese Buddhist monk and meditation teacher, and I'm probably going to completely butcher his name, Thich Nhat Hanh, says these things. He says, mindfulness is the kind of light that shows us the way. Mindfulness gives birth to insight, awakening, compassion, and love. And he also says, when you drive around the city and come to a red light or a stop sign, you can just sit back and make use of these 20 or 30 seconds to relax, to breathe in, breathe out, and enjoy arriving in the present moment. And there are many things that we can do that are like that. So that is what I have for you today, my friends. I hope you were able to find some time in your day to begin this practice if you aren't already doing it. I know it can be of benefit to you in multiple ways, at work and in your non-working life, in your whole entire life. This can be of multiple benefit to you. That doesn't even make sense. This can be of great benefit to you. Let me put it that way. I'm getting tired. I need to practice some mindfulness and some meditation right now, I think. So that remember, please, that if I can help you with one-to-one coaching, come on over to the website, sign up for a coaching package. There are spaces available at the moment, and I'm happy to help. I'm going to let you go now so that you can get started on this amazing practice if you haven't done it before. Until next time, this is Jen Swanson inviting you to stay present in the moment.